Alright, so today we're going to talk about risk management, one of the components of this whole universe of human factors inside aviation. Hi friends, my name is Jorge Muñoz. I'm a senior instructor pilot working in El Salvador, and as I just said, in this video we're going to talk about risk management. In the last video of this series about human factors, we finally finished talking about aeronautical decision making, or ADM. So now we're tackling the second theme into human factors. To do that, we will talk about the 4 risk factors that you have to be aware of during your flight, and how 2 acronyms can help you remember those 4 sources of risk that you have to take care of. As always, this video is going to be divided in different sections, so here in the screen you will see the timestamps for each specific section, and also you will find the timestamps in the description down below and also in a pinned comment down below. So if you're in a hurry or you just want to know about one specific thing about this video, please feel free to jump to the timestamp that you're interested in. But if you want to see the whole video, I appreciate it quite a lot. Okay, so risk management. What is it and why is it integrated into this whole thing of human factors? Well, risk management is exactly what the name says it is. During each flight, the pilot has to make decisions over and over again. Pretty much the whole flight non-stop. But cannot only do blind decisions. They have to be effective decisions. Which is the whole point of why this human factors thing exists in the first place. First, you have to identify that there is actually a risk of some sort. If you don't acknowledge that, then it's like the risk pretty much doesn't exist until an accident happens. But by that moment it will be too late, right? Once you know that there is a risk for you and for the airplane, you can assess it, see and think how you can manage it, or ideally how you can mitigate it or eliminate it. That means taking a decision on how to deal with that risk, how to fight it back and how to solve it. Now, if you're thinking, how can you actually learn to identify what elements can be a source of risk for you and for the flight? Look, there is always a lot going on an airplane. But actually there are 4 categories in which you can divide what might be a source of risk, and the way or the order that personally I like to think about them is going from the smallest one to the biggest one, because it makes it easier for me to remember them. It's easier for me to think from the smallest to the biggest. That means let's start with what is inside the cabin. And let's just go from there. So the smallest thing in the list is you, or me, the pilot. I'm inside the cabin. I am actually smaller than the cabin, but I am in charge of it. Second, the airplane. Okay, the airplane is bigger than me and then the cabin together. Alright, but the airplane is actually smaller than the environment. That's the third element, environment. And finally, 4, the type of operation. That is something that is not physically visible, but it is always present. Then it is omnipresent. It is everywhere because it is what we are doing. In my head, it is the biggest thing around here. So yeah, those are the 4 sources or elements of risk, or the categories that we can use to classify from where the risk is coming from. However you want to see them. From the tiniest, the pilot, then the airplane, after that the environment, and finally the biggest of them all, the type of operation. Now, that's my personal process to remember this, but just as we do with the ADM process, when we use acronyms like I'm safe and decide, pilots also use acronyms to remember these 4 sources of risk that we have to manage during flight. I think that the most used one is P.A.V.E. I think that's how it is pronounced, but here you have how it is written. And that one stands for Pilot, Aircraft, Environment and External Pressures. The P for pilot, which is, as we said, the very first risk element. But why the heck are we the first risk element? If, I'm the pilot, I'm the one that knows what we are doing. Okay, that's a fair point, but for you to not be a source of risk, evaluate if your training, experience and fitness is good for the flight. Let me pull an example for you. If you have just finished your private pilot license and you have no idea of what the heck is a radial or a standard instrument departure, and on top of that you have had a cold since the day before yesterday, but still you decide to go flying with someone while there is a low ceiling of clouds covering almost the whole sky, let me tell you that you are probably a big source of risk for your flight. Second, aircraft. You have to know if the thing that you are flying with is airworthy. You have to know the performance and limitations that it has, how to make the proper configurations of the aircraft. If you're flying that airplane, it's because you know how to fly that airplane. Or if you're a student, that you're learning how to do it. But still, to learn how to fly an airplane, you need to know the manual behind it. If you don't, then the airplane becomes a risk factor. Third in the list, we have environment. What surrounds the airplane and the whole flight, such as the airports that you are using or planning to use, or the airport's conditions as well. Maybe some of the runways are under maintenance, or the taxiways. Maybe there is a heavy snowstorm over the airport where you are intending to land, or there is no gas station over there and you really need one if you want to come back to where you came from. I'm just throwing some examples here and there so you can have an idea of what I'm referring to. Like, there could happen a million different things. Here you have to consider as well things like terrain, airspace and weather. Like, what if you're going to fly for an extended period of time over mountainous terrain? What is your plan of actions if something happens over there? Maybe there is a thunderstorm between where you are and where you plan to go. Or who knows, heavy winds or freezing conditions over there on your destination. Again, I'm just saying what is on the top of my mind. Or if we are talking about airspace, do you know if you need a clearance or if you had to ask for permission even before the flight started? Who are you going to talk to? Maybe you just entered a military training zone and you didn't even notice. Or your airplane doesn't even have the minimum equipment for the airspace that you're trying to go or where you need to go. And the list just goes on and on. And to end this P.A.V.E thing, we have external pressures, the omnipresent being during your flight. This covers such things like, what even is the purpose of the flight? Are you forcing it for no reason? Could you have waited maybe for the weather to get better? Do you really need to keep your schedule at all costs? If you are an instructor just like me, maybe your boss is forcing you to achieve a certain amount of hours each week or each month. Or you just skipped your briefing so you can do the flight hour in time. So the flight after you can also be completed in time. What I'm trying to say is, don't force it. Don't let external pressures to be a risk factor into your flight. To end this video, we also have the 5 P's acronyms, I guess, which is extremely similar to P.A.V.E and it serves the exactly same purpose, helping you remember the 4 risk factors that we have been talking about. The 5 P's are pilot, passengers, plane, programming and plan. As I said, they are extremely similar to P.A.V.E. So wrapping up this video, risk management refers that there are always going to be risk factors during our flight, and we are the ones that have to identify and mitigate them. To explain this better, we can categorize them into 4 elements: pilot, aircraft, environment, and type of operation. To help you remember these 4 elements in an easier way, you can use acronyms like P.A.V.E or the 5 P's, or like in my case, thinking of them like going from the smallest physical element, the pilot, to the biggest one, the type of operation. In the end, it doesn't matter what you use to remember. The point is that you do actually have to remember this. And every mind has its own way to remember things differently. That is why almost always there is different ways to learn and remember new things. And so that's the end of today's video. If you want to become an outstanding private pilot, or even if you are an advanced commercial pilot that want to remember and perfect the knowledge and the basis of the VFR world, or maybe you want to start your private pilot training with a heads up over the others, I highly recommend you check out my book Essential Knowledge for Private Pilot. You will find the link of the book in the description of this video. It is an Amazon Kindle exclusive. This book uses the two most effective study techniques in the whole world, active recall and spaced repetition, and it applies them into aviation. If that sounds good to you, then please go check out the book in the link down below. It is available in English as well in Spanish. Remember, you shouldn't be studying hard, you should be studying effectively, and with this book you can do just that. And that's it. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it or at least found it somewhat entertaining, then please give it a like. If you learned something new, I'll appreciate quite a lot if you consider subscribing to the channel. And if you just feel like it, you can also follow me in Instagram. I upload very cool photos over there. Or at least they seem cool in my head. The link is also down below. I try to upload videos every week, mainly explaining topics that has to do in a way or another with the IFR world, but kind of in a logical order. And also I will probably be talking about education and aviation in general, but always trying to contribute something new to you. If you have a question or an opinion about something I said during this video, or you want to talk to me about something, please feel free to comment down below, or you can get in touch with me in Instagram. I would love to hear what you have to say. If you found this video interesting, then you should go check out the entire playlist I have made about human factors. I will leave the playlist over here. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in another video. Bye!